Hi, Brian. Oh,
Hi, Jen.
how you doing? Where's my picture? Oh,
Wow. Sound.
yeah, it looks like we have video off. I couldn't care less either way, but it wouldn't let me put my video back on. Let me see if it'll change.
All right. Were you having difficulties, Jen?
I just tried to turn my video on and it said that you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, okay. I have I? Oh, okay. How come I can't? I can't. Okay. Um,
I'm here.
Hi, Christian.
Hi. I couldn't figure out how to get my microphone to turn on. There we go.
And Josh. Everybody's figuring it out.
yeah, no, I had to promote everybody in, and how come I can't turn on the video? All right, everybody seems to be unmuted, but all the videos are off. Are you able to turn on your own?
When I click that, it says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
I have stopped it. All right, I'm trying to figure out how to unstop it. Now try it. There we go.
There we go.
Hey. Hey, everybody. Yeah.
I saw Ken in the flesh today.
Yeah,
It was shocking.
yeah, I exist.
Me too.
I saw people hugging on TV and I was like, I'm gonna have a hug party when this is over. It's like all my friends.
Now booking for 2021.
Yeah, really. Oh my gosh.
There's Joe. Hey, Joe.
I think Alice was coming. I'm gonna give her a couple of minutes, or whatever you guys want to do. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a quorum.
I think the funniest thing is that I've forgotten how to like, maybe not forgotten, I just don't care about like dressing professionally all that much. So I went to the office and nobody sees me. And so I was like wearing, you know, shorts and flip flops. And then I went out for a little walk for a second to catch some air and walked by Ken and it's like, oh gosh.
Oh, but that's how I roll all summer long. Shorts, t-shirt, I'm riding my bike, you know.
Yeah,
I
totally.
mean, honestly, if anybody of importance, you know, rolled up on me, they may just call the police and say there's a guy hanging around here, you know.
Well, I'm going to suggest we just go ahead and get rolling since we've got enough folks. So call the Affordable Housing Collaborative to order Thursday, August 27th at 7:05 p.m. Just do a little roll call. Jen Kruger. You guys want to just say who's here?
Josh Daly.
Christian Blaney.
Ken Burke.
Oops, sorry. Joe Murphy, representative from Planning Board.
Brian Wagner from the Planning Department.
Great. And we were just going to look at the June 25th minutes, see if anybody had any comments or updates on those.
June 25th seems like it's 2 years ago, but I didn't see any changes. I looked through it.
I just saw a highlighted thing at the bottom that said approved July 23rd. Was that a placeholder from our last meeting?
Yeah, we will update that before they get posted to the state and the clerk base. So we will update that to today's date.
That's really it. Everything else looked good. So do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
Second.
Okay,
Okay.
first.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Motion.
All right, wait. I'm going to count Ken as the motion because he spoke first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Christian.
Do we have a third?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the all in favor part.
That's what my youngest daughter likes to say. Me three.
Okay, no members of the public this evening and no correspondence.
No
So
correspondence.
brings us to election of officers. This is sort of the season where we do that. And we don't have Jeff anymore and he was vice chair. So I was gonna throw it out there since we're a collaborative and we've all been pretty much putting in the same amount of work as far as I'm concerned, that if someone would like to be chair this year, that would be great. But we can have a discussion about that and then I guess just go through the officer roles. Crickets.
Oops. All right, we've got, I'm promoting Alice. I didn't think Alice was supposed to be here tonight.
Oh, she.
I'm here.
There we go.
So we went ahead and started Alice at 7:05, but you've only missed the minutes.
I was here. I was listening, but I just wasn't. You weren't seeing me.
Oh,
I heard you, and I just heard what you said as well as about.
And we have another attendee, John Glasheen. He's not a member of the board, is he? I don't recognize the name.
so maybe we do have some someone from the public.
Since we don't have too many open panes, I will promote Mr. Glasheen, even if he is just an observing member of the public.
Oh, that's why.
So do we want to, because we already kind of went through the public comments part, but if John wanted to share anything, or, I mean, is everybody okay with that if we just offer that to John since he's here?
Sure. John, I would note that you are muted. You have it should be free to unmute yourself and turn on your video if you choose.
Okay, you're unmuted. All right.
That's not me though.
Just say,
Yes, I'm here and want to support what you're doing
member of the public.
as a member of the public.
Hi, John.
Welcome, John.
Yeah,
I know you.
Yes, you do.
Did you have anything you wanted to share with us, John?
Not right now, thanks.
Okay, very good. So that brings us back to election of officers. I don't remember how we did this last time. Do we go chair, vice chair, secretary? Is that what we do?
I don't think there's any particular order, so whichever order the chair wants to move the meeting along in, it's your choice.
Okay, well, it's not a big deal either way. Do folks want to talk about anybody they'd like to nominate for chair?
I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be on the committee, so I would not be a good choice.
Okay, yes,
I was
Josh.
just going to nominate Josh, but he just got up and left.
I second that.
Oh, there he is.
Josh, you stepped away and you got nominated.
Josh, I just nominated you.
Oh, I just got nominated
Yes.
because I left. Kids.
And someone seconded that, did I hear?
I second it.
Well, I'm a little, I just want to say that, you know, when I was nominated for secretary last time, I made it clear that I wanted to be properly feted on Administrative Professionals Day, and I think that that may have been missed. So.
Oh, like COVID.
You can do a gavel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. If
Well, that feels like enough discussion to me. All in favor?
Great.
Aye.
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 Good choice.
Great. Okay, so that brings us to vice chair.
Similar to Alice, I actually serve as a co-chair of another committee, so I'm happy to be part of this group, but I don't think I should hold another officer position. So respectfully, I'm here to play a second or third fiddle at best.
And this is our full group now? We just lost Jeff, but
I think Faye also came off.
Faye, that's why. Oh,
does that mean we have 2 open slots, or is there even a 3rd open slot?
There's 2 open slots. I mentioned to Jen that I would talk to the clerk about this today. They normally just leave up a list of open slots on the website, but when I went to that list, the Affordable Housing Collaborative was not listed because it was an old list. So hopefully that list was updated before the end of the day today. And I also asked them to try and find a more prominent location for the link for vacancies on the boards and commissions, because right now you kind of have to go searching for it, and it doesn't make it easy to recruit anybody for anything if you're hiding the applications. So I'm going to talk to the IT person about maybe making a more prominent link right on the homepage for the town.
Sounds good.
You know, Josh, you have the opportunity to get back at Christian by nominating him as the
Yeah, right.
vice chair.
Sure, I'll make that nomination.
there you go.
I knew that was coming.
Well, process of elimination.
Yeah.
I second
A
that.
second.
All in
Thanks,
favor?
Josh.
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Does that mean I volunteer for secretary?
There you go. Thank you.
I'll order the name
Under my
tags.
administration, we will properly vet you for Administrative Professionals Day.
So do we have a vote for Jen for secretary?
Yes, I guess I volunteered, so that's not, is that a motion? Am I allowed
I
to?
nominate Jen Kruger
Okay.
for secretary.
Second that, and
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay.
Super. All right.
Very good.
Okay, so our first order of business was to talk with the tax assessor, but he was not able to make it this evening, so we'll postpone that to next month. I don't know if we need to do anything official around that or just move it to the next agenda. Sorry, I'm on like a stability ball in my desk. So.
Yeah, no, we can just bump that agenda item to the next month. It's on the agenda. If the board members wanted to talk about that particular subject matter amongst themselves, you certainly have the option, or we just kick the whole discussion over to September.
So Brian, what was the thought? Is this as far as how the potential accessory dwelling unit proposal would affect the town finances, or what was the thought in discussing with Jean?
Well, this, Kayla raised this at her last meeting with the collaborative about educating the board members on the implementation of any tax policy ideas that they may come up with, and needing to understand the limits of Jean Bouchard's abilities and resources when it comes to implementing new tax policies. So it was sort of getting an idea of the tax assessor's abilities and trying to create ideas that work within that.
And when you say tax assessor, what you're really talking about is the town of South Kingstown and their ability to do it without going to the General Assembly?
No, their ability to physically do it with the staffing and resources that they have in the office, and making sure we understand, yes, if we need special legislation to get something done, or if we need town legislation to get something done.
Okay, so a combination of both the execution and the policy.
Yes.
Anybody want to talk more about that now?
I think we should bump it because I think that was a big part of figuring out sort of the realism of the recommendation that we had passed, sort of the next step, right? Finding out, saying how feasible is it to run and how it might run, right? We thought Jean might be able to cue us in on that. And then the second part of it, obviously making sure that we're not running into a situation where we have to get some sort of state approval for it as well. So I'm comfortable just bumping it because I'd rather wait till we've got him on board to chat with him about it.
And looking back through the minutes from the last meeting, I was seeing that I had asked about whether we could do a survey to ADU owners regarding interest in an abatement program. It looks like Kayla said a direct mail list to ADU owners could be created if we wanted that.
Sure, I can look into that. Let me talk to Carol, our GIS administrator, and see what we have for data in terms of the ADUs. That's probably something also that Gene can talk about, to see what he has in terms of addresses and names in the tax rolls as well.
Okay.
Okay, so sounds like maybe we could move on to the next one then, which would be a discussion of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. I guess sort of just reviewing where we're at with the trust fund now, and then sort of what its potential might be going forward. So last I recall, there was a change that we would have money coming through the real estate tax conveyance, am I saying that right? Into the fund, so that may be happening. So there might be some more actual funding to use towards affordable housing production. Beyond that, whether we want to expand sort of what we have for uses is something we have talked about before. But it's sort of an open conversation about.
Brian, do you know where that stands? At one time, Rob had provided some discussion, I guess, with the affordable housing, and had said that he would, I think, felt he was comfortable proposing up to 50% of the real estate conveyance. Do you know whether that was ever presented to the town council, or whether he got any, positive nods on that?
I'm not aware that that ever went to the council for discussion. And again, I apologize because I am still to some degree coming up to speed on a lot of this stuff myself. So, I mean, that is something that I can speak with Rob about and get myself a little bit up to speed on. I did look at the underlying legislation allowing it to be done, but it still has to be implemented through the town.
That would be good if we could get an update on that, just if Rob had presented it or not, either formally or informally, and what the reaction was.
Do we have a fund now? Like, does something exist currently?
I don't believe so, no.
Well, I mean, we had something that we paid the consultant with, and there have been like one-time deposits into that.
Yes.
And that's how we paid for the project that's just about to wrap up now. And then we've had, I think before that, when I first started, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of like $7,500 or something like that in the funds. When people would come to ask for it, it would be like maybe between $1,000 and $2,000 they might ask for appraisal or something like that, when they were thinking about, maybe a nonprofit was thinking about picking up a property in town that would become affordable. That was a while back. So, I mean, my suspicion is that the fund probably just has a few $1,000s in it now, because I think the Washington County CDC, how many months ago was that you guys made a request?
Yeah, we spent like $1,200, probably like last fall, I believe it was, maybe October, November. Yeah. Yep, because we did a market analysis. We were looking at a piece of property to buy to develop affordable housing, so we used that for an appraisal. So I'm remembering.
Did anything ever come out of that, Alice? Did you?
Actually, what came out of it was that we found it was a 5-unit dwelling here on Main Street that we found was illegal. So it had never been permitted. It was a single family that had been turned into a 5-family. So that really came out of that. So he's working on getting it conforming to zoning now.
But still potential for affordable housing.
Correct. Yeah, we're waiting for him to clear it up, the owner. I am remembering, and I'm not sure if this is going too far back, but we have within the town, and I don't know what the correct term is, ordinance or within language, that there is an affordable housing trust fund, and there's a lot of language about how it's going to be administered. It was just never funded. And the group was looking at all of this language, and we did make changes to it, but I don't know where it ever went. It feels like it sort of got dropped, or we left it. We had a lot of changes, and I do have an old copy in hand. So I think that I think Rob was waiting for that to get approved and sent to him as something to take to the council. Does that sound right?
That does sound right. I that's what I was recalling last meeting when I suggested we try and bring this back up, because it was
Okay.
a conversation that we had quite a while ago, and I think you're remembering that all correctly.
Okay, so I do have this that I can just scan and send out to everybody, because I don't know if it's the last draft of what we had, but at least it will give us something to spark our memories and start with.
Does yours also say section 14-2 on it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I have an old copy of that as well, but I don't.
There's a lot of red on it, a lot of red additions. Actually, Jeff worked on this one a lot, I think. as well. And there's a lot of red additions and whatnot throughout it.
Do you have is there a title on that document and a date, Alice?
There's not a date. Section 14.2, Affordable Housing Fund. Then it talks about legislative findings, statement of purpose, establishment of the fund.
Was that something that Rob provided? Would he have a visual?
This exists within the language, and it has existed for a long time.
Okay.
And we were just starting to work on it a little bit.
Right.
So it's what was established ages ago but never funded.
So, right, it would be helpful, I think, for all of us to be able to review that again and also to know where we stand with potential funding now through the, I could have sworn they had a discussion at town council about the real estate tax conveyance. I thought something actually happened on that, but I'll have to go dig around in the minutes if I'm going to find that out, or maybe Rob just knows. So I suppose that's a place to start, is probably that we need to go back and revisit where we are now. And
yeah, it sounds like I need to root around in some of the computer files and figure out where this was left. If anybody has anything that would help me in my search in terms of dates or whatnot, that would help me, because I'm seeing two folders in here, Affordable Housing Fund and Affordable Housing Resources. Neither of them seem to have anything similar to what Alice described in it, but I will keep looking.
I think that update was from Jeff. So he, was the one, I think, who originated all those changes for us to look at. But he was working off the official language.
Mm-hmm.
People have anything else on this topic they want to throw out there?
I'm just trying to go back through some things and see, but I think it sounds like it would be a good idea to just do some digging and see if we can get the most up-to-date language where we left it off, and then also the status and discuss it at the next meeting. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll see, Brian, if I can dig through my stuff and help you out in finding it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, shall we carry on?
Yep.
All right, so discussion of development of a program to purchase LMI deed restrictions. One of our other frequent flyer topics we've been talking about. Where do we want to start with this one?
Ryan, how familiar are you with this part of have we discussed this since you've been around?
It was discussed at the, I guess, what was it, the June meeting? So, I mean, I'm familiar with the concept of what you're trying to do. It's similar to what DEM has done with some of their agriculture stuff. So I'm familiar with the general concept, yes.
It's an interesting idea. I mean, I think this is kind of pretty much Rob's idea, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering properly. And sort of the basic concept is intriguing, but there's so many ins and outs. The issues we were coming up against, and there was Jeff had a lot of really good arguments about, you have to be careful about making sure people know what they're getting into, right? Making sure they know what's the resale of their home going to look like if they deed the home, how is it going to affect passing on the home? There's a lot that goes into it. But what's interesting to me about it is, I've got, like everybody here, probably I've got relatives who have lived here their whole lives and 2 and 3 generations here. And I know people that I've got relatives that would benefit from a program like this, who have worked their whole lives and they've paid their mortgage off and now they're going to live on a fixed income, and to be able to, pay less property taxes in order to do something like this as a trade-off would probably be a good thing for them. But it's a matter of the devil's in the details, right? That's really where we never really got to that point. I think we got to the overall, we didn't really get too far below that. So And there was also the element about, can we even do this without, and I think the answer was no. This is the one we needed state approval for, if I'm not mistaken. I think Rob is pretty certain about that.
You needed, I know we need state approval for the abatement. I'm not sure, I don't recall it about this one. But this is basically buying deeds, right? And effectively shifting to affordable. Is that, am I remembering things correctly?
Correct. Yeah, buying the deed, and it does a couple of things. When you buy it, it also, I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, if I was misunderstanding it, it's going to affect the tax base. So by buying it, not only are you going to get a chunk of change for the purchase part of that, but you're also going to get, you're going to pay reduced taxes because it's going to lower the tax basis.
Right.
Because of the affordability value, if I'm not mistaken on that as well. For the town, for us, it was effectively counting as 2 units, right? Because A, it was deeded, and B, person living there qualified. I can't remember how that calculation came about, but that was one of the things Rob was mentioning towards our affordability goal. Doing this effectively counts as 2 units somehow.
Right.
I'm not quite remembering.
Well, it's where the unit would be close to affordable anyway, I think is the idea. And then that it would be getting us closer to that 10% because it would be a flip, right? Like you'd take 1 unit off as
That's right.
1
Yep.
unit on,
There you
right?
go.
So,
Yep.
so you get kind of a twofer in doing it. It doesn't actually like create new units, but it does, it's sort of a clever and a real way of getting something that's going to be more long-term affordable as well. I do remember Jeff's objections to it. I seem to recall that most of his objections were just around making sure that people, especially senior citizens, understand the implications of what they'd be doing, and not getting the difficulty of making sure that they understand the equity that they have in their homes and what they might be giving up in trade for the tax relief.
The deed restriction.
Right, for the deed restriction.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He probably could speak more eloquently and powerfully of that, but.
Well, I think that's where we were sort of getting stuck to, is the idea of having some sort of formula or way to figure out if, because it originally came up, I think we hadn't even, when we first talked about it, we hadn't really talked about whether we were going to give people some money towards that lost equity. And that was what we were talking about. Is there a way to figure out if you could, but then you're giving people money, right? So that's different, very different than doing a tax abatement.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Sounds complicated.
Yeah,
It is.
It would be worthwhile in the same time to bring, try and dig around and get the previous documentation as well, because I think some of these discussion notes are in previous minutes, and even there was some stuff that I think Jeff had shared at that point too. So maybe we can do some digging as well to inform our discussion next month about it.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I'm not remembering everything. It's not pulling together for me. So that would be appreciated.
Okay.
I think you would consider that this would work hand in hand with funding of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, because you could then use trust fund monies to purchase the full market value percentage of the house and then convert it to the affordable unit.
Right, and I think that was part of the discussion. It was among those things that we discussed with the potential Affordable Housing Trust Fund was, this was one of them, as I recall.
In terms of creating an affordable unit, that's probably still a cost-effective way to think about doing that. Obviously there's lots of details to go through, but I think that's, part of what we're thinking about with money that might be in the trust fund is like, what's an efficient way to produce some more affordable housing in town? Because we know it can be expensive just to get, affordable housing developed. Our land is expensive here.
I had done some case study research stuff, which is long gone now. I'm going to go back to that and maybe try and come up with something for the next meeting. If you want to put that on the agenda for next meeting, because I know I can dig it up. But I just done a bunch of searches and looked into some county record stuff, and there were case studies written about certain towns, and there were a bunch in New England that had done this type of thing, all different types of ways. And we had discussed it briefly at one point. I'm going to revisit that so we can kind of get refreshed on it, if you guys are okay with that. And maybe
Sure. Don't mind resharing that too, Christian. We could read ahead.
yeah, what I'll do is I'll distribute it to Brian. How about that? And then you can get it out to everybody for the next meeting to read in advance. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Thanks. Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
No, so it's really just about getting back on track here, remembering where we were, getting back on track. And it seemed like there was so much going on. It'd be nice to just focus on, these things are kind of complicated. So it'd be nice to just focus on these few items for a little while and see if we can get our head around it.
I think these
And
two
help
and
get your new
Eugene
staff
will-
up to speed as well, so.
Yeah.
And then in terms of our other consulting project, which seems like it should be kind of wrapping up at this point. Any word from Horsley Witten? I'm jumping right into update from planning staff.
Yes, the home style, the first three elements of the home style project are completed. They'll be going to the planning board for final review and advisory recommendation at their regular session meeting at the end of September. So that's the cottage development, the accessory dwelling unit piece, and the inclusionary zoning piece. Once we get those through, it'll be on to the town council for adoption of those pieces. There was a lot of good discussion that went on about all of the different pieces. I don't believe if everybody is curious in seeing the current drafts, I don't think there's a problem with circulating that. But let me just double check with Jay when I get in the office tomorrow morning. I'm not sure if the town has any particular protocol about that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else from planning?
No, that's it. The one thing I already updated you on, which was trying to get a little bit more exposure on the vacancies to get some new members in. Mr. Glasheen, I see you're still there. If you're interested in participating, there are 2 open spots on the collaborative. You would need to go to the town website and get a copy of the application, or I can mail one to you, and you can become a member. So that's my pitch for tonight.
Good pitch.
All right, great.
Looks like we're done.
That's the shortest meeting in 2 years.
Really, seriously.
But we pushed everything off to the next meeting, so
That's
we
right.
do the work in between now and then. So
Pause.
we're gonna dig up all of this stuff and get back on it.
Good. Okay.
And get out there and recruit people to join.
Yes.
Okay, so with that, then I guess meeting adjourned.
Do we have to make a motion to adjourn?
I guess to be very official, we should.
Yes.
All right, we do have 2 attendees that have
Okay.
shown up. If
Oh, yeah.
Let them in.
if they have questions or want to make comments, I'll offer them the ability to raise their hand. If you scroll your cursor down towards the bottom of the screen, if you're online, you should see an icon there to raise your hand. Or I can simply promote them, and
Yeah, if there's just two.
let's just do that. We don't. It's not like we have 50 people that we're trying to share space with. So we've bumped them both up, Mwangi and Sean. So if either of you have any comments, or again, I'll make the same offer. We have open vacancies. If this is a topic in South Kingstown that you'd like to have an active voice in, feel free to go to the town website and download the application and submit an application to the town council. If you have any particular questions for the board or topics of interest, you're free to unmute yourselves and chime in. If not, I think we're at the end of our meeting.
Hey Brian, this is Mwangi. Just wanted to thank you for that and say that I jumped on a little bit later into the meeting, about 20 minutes ago, so I missed the first part. But I'm here mainly to understand a little bit more about how affordable housing is approached in our town, and I had a talk with Jen earlier, so just wanted to gather some more information. So. That's all.
Okay.
Hi.
John, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to share?
Mwangi.
I appear
Nope.
to either become a member or could become a member. How did you, what happened to you?
What?
What happened to you being a member or participant?
Well, when we signed in, I just signed in with your name. My email with your name,
Yeah,
so I don't know that I'm around. I didn't say that I was there.
you want to do something?
No,
Sorry. Sean, I'm looking for you. Did you want to share anything? I can't hear him.
I unmuted him because I didn't know whether or not he was able to do so, but if he doesn't have anything to add to the discussion, I think we may be at a conclusion, Jen?
Yes, someone had made a motion to adjourn.
I didn't see that.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Hi.
I am by.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Hey, everybody.
Nice to see
Okay.
everybody.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.
it's over.
Okay.